Good evening and welcome to this week's programme. It's just gone 6 o'clock on Saturday the 11th of December and just a couple of weeks away to Christmas. Good evening, and in the news this week, COVID-19 infections have increased over the past week, both in the Dorset and the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole areas. This follows an upward trend across the whole South region and England as a whole. But unfortunately, both the Dorset Council and the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Council areas are way above the regional and national averages. As you know, this week the government announced a move to what's known as Plan B. And yesterday it became a requirement to wear a face covering in most indoor places, such as shops and hairdressers, public transport, churches, community halls, etc. And from 13th of December, that's Monday, you should stay at home to work if you can. And from the 15th of December, you'll need to show an NHS COVID pass at certain places to get in, such as nightclubs and other venues, and large events of over 500 people to show that you are vaccinated and tested. There's even leaks in the news today that we may be moving to a Plan C before or just after Christmas, because this new strain of the virus is rapidly developing. So we await that with interest. A proposal to build new homes and an access route onto Weymouth's Curtisfield estate on the Lanehouse Rocks Road have been heavily criticised by Weymouth Town Council's Planning Committee. Betterment Properties had submitted plans to knock down a large house on Lanehouse Rocks Road opposite the chemist. You can see the house on the screen, to be replaced with 9 new dwellings and a highway junction to access the new Curtisfield development. The houses, a mixture of 2-bed and 3-bed properties, would be built on 3 sections of land. One set of 2 houses, one of 4 houses facing Lanehouse Rocks Road, and a set of 3 houses with vehicle parking just off the proposed access road. But at Weymouth Town Council's Planning and Licensing Committee meeting, councillors unanimously objected to the plans on the grounds of highway design and safety, local flooding issues and the lack of assessment of impact on nearby roads, with Lanehouse Rocks Road the main route for heavy vehicles travelling from Dorchester through to Portland. The developer was praised for including electrical vehicle charging points on the properties, but councillors said that this was just lip service and said the houses should be carbon zero, and also raised concerns that surface water running off the site would exacerbate existing flooding problems on nearby streets, as drains cannot cope already. The committee were also concerned over the loss of wildlife habitat. On Thursday this week, a dog walker discovered a rare deceased whale that had been washed up on Burton Bradstock Beach. Toby Hyde was walking his dogs along Burton Bradstock Beach when he came across the dead creature washed up on the beach. Mr. Hyde, aged 49 from Bridport, first thought it was a dolphin or a seal, but was left puzzled when he took a closer look. He said, "I started looking for it online and researching small whales that had been washed up in recent years in the UK, and one came up on my mobile that I recognised. Following his find, Mr. Hyde sent photos of the animal to the Natural History Museum, who described the interesting find as a pygmy sperm whale. The Natural History Museum will be recovering the whale from the beach this weekend." Dates have been revealed for a popular arts event in Dorset, following on from the 2021 event, which was delivered in a revised format due to the pandemic. The event for 2022 has been announced for the week of May the 14th to the 29th. The event will provide artists and audiences with another opportunity to celebrate local creativity. Dorset Arts Week includes local galleries, workshops, collectives, pop-ups and other projects, and all sorts of arts from paintings, ceramics, jewellery, textiles and woodwork. If you're interested, look out for the information on the Dorset Arts Week website at www.dorsetartweeks.co.uk. And lots of stuff happens in Weymouth and Portland in terms of Dorset Art Weeks. And lots of things for you to see. And we will be telling you more about that as we get near the time and finding out who's exhibiting in the local area. Dorset Council has revealed the significant cost of removing a sunken vessel from Weymouth Harbour, but fortunately only a very small part of the cost will fall to the local council taxpayer. The FV Geet sank in Weymouth Harbour in October, 18 months after it was abandoned there by its owner. And subsequently, Dorset Council arranged for its removal on November the 10th, and we've covered this story before with some pictures, haven't we? Now it's been revealed that the cost of the whole operation is expected to cost around £145,000, although a final figure is not yet in. Now, sticking with Dorset Council, there's only a short time left to have your say on the future of local libraries, where you've got the opportunity to take part in a consultation exercise being run by Dorset Council. Launched at the end of October, the consultation looks to the future of Dorset's library service and how it can best meet the needs of residents now and over the next 10 years. The current library strategy is 11 years old, and over those 11 years there have been significant changes in public behaviour, digital technology, and of course recently the impact of the COVID pandemic have also been felt on the library service. Library users and non-library users, as well as businesses, partners and Dorset Council employees, are all being asked to share their views to help shape a modern and sustainable library service. Today's libraries are at the heart of Dorset's communities. As well as a safe space, they provide many highly valued services for residents of all ages, such as activities and events, skills and learning, digital access and support, and art and cultural exhibitions. They also provide free access to Wi-Fi and public access PCs for those that don't have them. In future, they could offer other kinds of support to businesses, partners, and residents. As part of the consultation, there is a dedicated children's survey as well, and a business partners and employees survey. And Dorset Council would like to encourage everyone to get involved. Pop along to the Dorset Council website and look for that consultation exercise and links to the surveys. And your responses need to be in by Friday the 7th of January. That's Friday the 7th of January. The Weymouth RNLI all-weather lifeboat was launched last Friday at the request of Solent Coast Guard to assist a 21-foot motorboat which had broken down at a position some 2 miles south of Portland Bill. The pleasure boat with one person on board was on passage from Teignmouth to Weymouth when it suffered from engine failure, and you can see a picture of it there on the screen. In the strong current, by the time that the lifeboat was on scene, the vessel had drifted to a position some 6 miles northwest of Portland Bill, so it drifted quite a way since the emergency call. Having checked that the skipper of the vessel was okay, the volunteer lifeboat crew passed a line and it was towed back to Weymouth Harbour. It was tied up on the waiting pontoon by the town bridge at 3:30 p.m. with the help of White Coast Guard, who, having helped to tie the vessel up, offered safety advice to the skipper. And so, as you can see, there it is on the screen. You will remember a few weeks ago we mentioned that Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance were up for a number of national awards. Well, the results are in, and it's good news for Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance. And they came out winners in 3 categories at this year's National Air Ambulance Awards of Excellence. They were held virtually last weekend. The Life-Saving Charity was shortlisted as the finalist in 5 categories, and they went on to win 3, highlighting the broad scope and high standard of the service they provide and the incredible motivation and professionalism of their people. The 3 categories they won in were Doctor of the Year, and Dr. Phil Hyde, who is Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance's medical lead, was awarded Doctor of the Year. Mr. Hyde's selfless dedication to the service of patients is only matched by his incredible clinical knowledge and expertise. He demonstrates daily his incredible skills as a physician, his dedication to every aspect of patient care, and his absolute commitment to nurturing and developing the skills of others involved with the air ambulance service. What makes Dr. Hyde exceptional is what he has achieved for patients regionally and indeed nationally. Despite his punishing schedule as a paediatric intensivist in a major trauma centre and as a member of the Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance clinical team during one of the busiest and most challenging years in living memory, Dr. Hyde continues to explore what can be achieved for patients, particularly in the pre-hospital environment. And an example is including driving an innovative project to support paediatric time-critical inter-hospital transfers in collaboration with the Regional Paediatric Transport Service. The second award was Innovation of the Year, a collaboration between Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance, Southampton Oxford Retrieval Team, Wales and West Acute Transport for Children Service, and Bristol Children's Hospital Trauma. Team leaders they were awarded the Innovation of the Year for formally supporting the time-critical inter-hospital transfer of paediatric patients in the southwest region. This new capability has taken 5 years to develop and mature and is the first of its kind in the UK. The paediatric time-critical inter-hospital service that is now being provided by Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance is in addition to their normal critical care activity and their regional adult time-critical inter-hospital service. So that was the second award. And the third award was a Lifetime Achievement Award. The prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award was presented to Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance's Chief Executive Officer, Bill Sievewright, for his outstanding contribution to the work of the service and the air ambulance community as a whole over the last 11 years. Bill's inspiring leadership has enabled Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance to become one of the most innovative and highly respected air ambulance charities in the country. He has led from the front across all areas of the charity, empowering others to do the same. This has resulted in the development of a small but extremely efficient charity team, where every member of staff feels valued and supported. The capabilities of the service have increased extraordinarily during Bill's time as Chief Executive Officer, and the quality and range of clinical care provided to the most critically ill and injured patients outside of hospital in Dorset and Somerset and the broader Southwest has been utterly transformed. Well, all I can say is well done to everyone at Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance, to those that won awards, and of course all of the team that are there providing services to us in Dorset and Somerset when we most need it, and we need experienced clinical people on scene incredibly quickly. So they'll be on duty all over Christmas. Do remember them over Christmas when we're eating our turkey, etc. Dorset Council are reminding people that their bin collections will be on their usual day for once this year over Christmas and the New Year period, even on the bank holidays, and that's because the major festivals, the Christmas Day, etc., fall over a weekend. So with Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day falling on the weekend this year, rubbish and recycling collections over the festive period will not be on a different day, and everyone should put their bins out on their regular collection day. There are some other important things to remember about your rubbish and recycling this Christmas. So just a few pointers from Dorset Council on waste. They will collect up to 2 extra sacks of rubbish if you place it beside your bin on the first rubbish collection after Christmas. There will be no garden waste collections taking place between Christmas Day and Monday the 10th of January. Household recycling centres will be open from 9 till 4 daily except Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Extra recycling, including glass and food, will be collected on your recycling collection day, provided it has been separated correctly and is placed in suitable, sturdy containers that can be easily lifted by one person. And they do ask that you don't put them in bags or cardboard boxes. Please help our crews by also putting your glass out for collection before Christmas, so that this ensures you have as much space as possible in your glass collection box to make sure all those bottles that you'll be drinking over the Christmas period can go safely in the plastic box, ready for collection after Christmas. Just a reminder, you can recycle cooked and uncooked food in your food bin. Wrapping paper, as long as it is not foil or glittery paper. Cardboard boxes, which they ask you to flatten or break up, please. Cardboard and hard plastic packaging can be recycled, but no polystyrene or thin film. And of course, Christmas cards and envelopes can be recycled. Now, Dorset Council does not collect Christmas trees whole for recycling, but you can compost them at home. You can cut them up and place them in your garden waste bin if you pay for a garden waste bin. You can take them to your household recycling centre, or you can book one of those services that we mentioned last week or the week before from Weldmar, who I think for £10 will pick up your Christmas tree and recycle it. So there we go. Lots of information on waste this Christmas time. Residents in need, including vulnerable families, have been told they can receive help with the cost of food and heating and other essentials this winter. Dorset Council has been awarded £2.3 million from the government's Household Support Fund, which has been set up to help vulnerable households across the country in need of financial support. Some of the money allocated to the council will be used to make sure children who receive free school meals during term time have food vouchers over Christmas, the February half term and the Easter school holidays. Information about food vouchers will be shared with families direct from their schools. One-off winter energy vouchers of £200 will also be made available to households in receipt of universal credit and with limited capability for work or earnings below the free school meals and free prescription threshold. To find out more and apply for these winter energy vouchers, go to www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/winter-energy-voucher. So that's www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/winter-energy-voucher. Now, at least 50% of the Household Support Fund will be used to support vulnerable families with children in Dorset. In addition to food and winter energy vouchers, other targeted emergency local assistance will be available, including support for care leavers, people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness, and people using food banks. For more information about the support, both in terms of food and financial advice and isolation this time of year, go to www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/reaching-out. That's www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/reaching-out. Moving now to something completely different. South West Action on Pensions, SWAP for short, are calling on local authorities, including Dorset Council, to stop using their pension funds to invest in fossil fuels and start using the money to invest in climate-friendly pensions. SWAP wants to see 100% divestment in fossil fuel companies, equities, bonds and associated financial products by 2025. Divestment from all carbon-intensive industries and investment being switched to carbon-neutral companies and projects that create a sustainable future with sustainable jobs. SWAP have been focusing on Brunel Pension Partnership and the 10 authorities they work for, including Dorset Council. Brunel is one of 8 UK local government pension schemes, or the pension scheme pools actually, bringing together more than 35 billion of investments for 9 local authorities they work for, including Dorset Council. They also cover Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole and the Environment Agency. For the last year, SWAP has been writing to Brunel expressing their concern that the scope and rate of change represented by their climate policy is not properly aligned with the Paris Agreement to keep global warming to 1.5 centigrade above pre-industrial levels. Brunel have now agreed to meet with representatives from SWAP on the 14th of December at their offices in Bristol. SWAP has supporters from each of the 9 local authorities that use Brunel and the Environment Agency. They also have support from the trade unions at Unison and Unite, who represent many thousands of members working for the local authorities. Kaz Dennett of Weymouth, who represents SWAP in Dorset, said, "We welcome this opportunity to engage with Brunel. One of the things we want to talk to them about is why their climate policy continues to give an unclear target of well below 2 centigrade, when they should firmly be stating 1.5 centigrade. 75% of UK councils have declared a climate and ecological emergency, yet most still continue to allow their pension funds to be used by companies who are continuing to explore and extract fossil fuels, including those local authorities who use Brunel. And they are doing this in the light of advice and support from Brunel. Moving away from fossil fuels and investing in carbon neutral green industries is the most important thing we should be doing. Moving on to some grants that are available for young people's charities and organisations. Round 3 of Dorset Council's funding for youth projects opens on the 13th of December, with grants up to £5,000 available. Dorset Council's Youth Fund grant provides funding for initiatives that deliver youth projects and activities within the Dorset Council area. Projects meeting the criteria should make a positive impact or difference to young people aged 11 to 19 or up to 25 if they have special educational needs or disabilities or are a care leaver. £58,549 was recently awarded to 14 local organisations following successful bids for the second round of funding back in the summer. During round 2, the funding provided grants of 80% to 100% of total project cost to applicants, and that amounted to between £1,935 to £5,000. Children, young people and families plan. This is helping Dorset Council deliver towards its priorities on its children, young people and families plan for 2020 to 2023. As I say, the grant round opens on the 13th of December, and I can see all sorts of groups were helped in the last round, from scout groups, community centres, youth clubs, and things like that, and skate parks. So in Weymouth, for instance, Steps got £4,889, and Weymouth Skate Park got £5,000. So if you're interested in involved in a youth project and you could do some grant funding up to £5,000 to help with the project, go onto the Dorset Council website and have a look and get your application in, because the money is there to support work with young people in the Dorset Council area. Now that's the end of our headlines this week. We've quite a lot going on this week, and now we come to our first feature this week. And Janet Hall is looking at another Christmas-related story. You'll remember last week she talked about how Christmas was celebrated in some other countries. And this week she's following that same theme, and she's picking on a different type of Christmas celebration in a different country. So we hear from Janet now.
It's always interesting to find out how other countries spend Christmas in different ways from our own. Last week we thought about St. Nicholas in Holland, and this week we're thinking about Christmas time in Sweden, where one of the biggest celebrations is St. Lucia's Day on December the 13th. The celebration comes from stories that were told by monks who first brought Christianity to Sweden. St. Lucia was a young Christian girl who was martyred, killed for her faith in 304. The most common story told about St. Lucia is that she would secretly bring food to the persecuted Christians in Rome who lived in hiding in the catacombs under the city. She would wear candles on her head so that she had both her hands free to carry things. Lucy means light, so this is a very appropriate name. December the 13th was also the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, in the old Julian calendar, and a pagan festival of lights in Sweden was turned into St. Lucia's Day. St. Lucia's Day is now celebrated by a girl dressing in a white dress with a red sash round her waist and a crown of candles on her head. The crown is made of lingonberry branches, which are evergreen and symbolise new life in winter. Nowadays, young children have electric candles, but some older ones still have a real flame. Schools normally have their own St. Lucias, and some town and villages also choose a girl to play St. Lucia in a procession where carols are sung. A national Lucia is also chosen. Lucias visit hospitals and old people's homes, singing a song about St. Lucia and handing out little ginger snap biscuits. Small children sometimes like dressing up as Lucia with the help of their parents, and also boys might dress up as star boys, and girls might be Tano, like Lucia, but without the candles. A popular food eaten at St. Lucia's Day are lucicats. St. Lucia Day buns, flavoured with saffron and dotted with raisins, which are eaten for breakfast. St. Lucia Day first became celebrated in Sweden in the late 1700s. St. Lucia's Day is also celebrated in Denmark, Norway, Finland, Bosnia and Croatia. In Denmark it is more of a children's day, and in some parts of Italy children are told that St. Lucy brings them presents. They leave out a sandwich for her and the donkey that helps to carry the gifts. Next week, we'll think about some of our own customs. Goodbye for now.
Thank you very much, Janet. And I find it very interesting how different countries celebrate different things, but they're very common themes, aren't they? Leaving something out for them to eat and giving presents and what have you. Maybe we should celebrate all of these things throughout December here so that we can have buns and biscuits on the 13th of December and then give gifts on other days like they do in other countries. Very interesting to learn what other countries are doing around this time, and we'll hear more from Janet next week. Our second feature this week relates to local policing. Dorset Police have been working with Merseyside Police to target county line gangs from the Merseyside area dealing drugs in Dorset. You will know, I'm sure, from local press and previous stories over recent years that county lines where people bring drugs into our area from other areas is a big issue for policing. The operation, part of Merseyside's project Medusa, saw gangs targeted on the road and rail networks, with Dorset officers working alongside colleagues from Merseyside to disrupt drug dealing, arrest gang members, seize weapons and protect vulnerable people who are being exploited. Over the course of the two-day operation, 15 arrests were made, 8 vehicles were seized, a warrant was carried out which resulted in the seizure of approximately £1,000 in cash and drugs. A street search of suspect resulted in an arrest when 7 wraps of Class A drugs were discovered. Quantities of other suspected drugs, cash and stolen property were seized, and over 50 safe and well checks were made of vulnerable people. Project Medusa is dedicated to cutting these county lines dead and works with other forces to trace those responsible and help those who may be exploited by these organised criminal gangs. Police and Crime Commissioner David Sillick said, "When I was elected as Police and Crime Commissioner, I said one of my priorities was to deal with fighting violent crime and high harm, and that of course includes drugs, particularly the county lines gangs who bring heroin, crack cocaine and other substances from the big cities into our small towns and villages. This is our horrific trade which serves up nothing but misery to those who become addicted to the drugs themselves, to those young people coerced into working as mules and dealers by older criminals further up the ladder, and to vulnerable individuals who are cuckooed and have their homes taken over." That means that basically their homes are taken over by drug dealers who move in and live there. We're now going to hear from Assistant Chief Constable Steve Lynn and Dave Siddick himself on how successful the Operation Medusa operations have been over the last days.
Good morning, my name's Steve Lynn, I'm the Assistant Chief Constable for Dorset Police. Operation Medusa has been really positive. The teams have collaborated together using a wide range of tactics and the results have been absolutely fantastic, sending a clear and strong message out to county line dealers that we will not tolerate their behaviour and we will bring the fight to them in order to safeguard our communities and protect the most vulnerable from harm. The operation focused in the Weymouth and Bournemouth areas over the last 2 days, and during that time an imitation firearm was seized, a significant amount of drugs, stolen property and cash were recovered. 15 people were arrested 11 of which were for drug supply offences, including 2 juveniles linked to county lines. 6 individuals were arrested as a result of positive drug swipes whilst driving. 8 vehicles were seized and numerous safe and well visits were completed, ensuring the safety of the most vulnerable people of our communities that are targeted by county lines dealers. I would like to thank Merseyside Constabulary for their support with this operation, and also our own staff who work tirelessly to safeguard our communities every single day. I'm looking forward to more collaborative work with Merseyside and other forces in the future in order to disrupt drug dealing activity in Dorset, make it a hostile county in which county line dealers try to operate.
Good morning. I'm David Sidwick. I'm the Dorset Police and Crime Commissioner. And I was able to go and observe this operation in action, both out on the streets with the officers and also in the control room overlooking what was going on. And I was impressed with 2 things: the passion and commitment of all the officers involved and the professionalism as it went about their business. Let's be very clear, I've just launched my police and crime plan, and part of it, priority 3, is about fighting the drugs and violence in our society. This is the start. There will be more operations. The people of Dorset don't want to see drug dealing on their streets, nor do Dorset Police. So my message for the drug dealers is, give it up.
There we go. That's about Operation Medusa that's been ongoing recently, trying to stop the county lines drugs getting into Dorset. Now, our third feature this week, you remember a few weeks ago we mentioned about the Weymouth Pavilion Pantomime, and it actually starts today. I think it's probably started this afternoon with the first show this afternoon and another one this evening, and it runs through to January. And of course we'll give you the dates when we cover our What's On in a minute. On Monday this week I was really pleased to be invited to the press launch held at Weymouth Pavilion and have the opportunity to speak to the producer of the pantomime, who is also the main pantomime dame, Lee Redwood. So I'm going to give you my report now. Now I do apologise with the background noise during the interview. I have to say it was a very, very lively and enthusiastic environment, and trying to keep people to keep the noise down to do an interview with all the bright costumes and all the excitement about was really, really difficult. But I hope you'll get a thrust of the excitement of pantomime and what's in store in my interview with Lee. I'm here at Weymouth Pavilion for the launch of this year's pantomime, and I'm with Lee Redwood, who's been the pantomime dame for the last 9 years, but has also been responsible for the production for the last 6 years.
That's right. So I started off as an ugly sister, then I've gone through all of them. We've done Cinderella again, where I ended up as the fairy. Obviously we had a funny year last year with Rapunzel, and now we're back to Widow Twankey and Aladdin. So yeah, 9 years.
Now, although you're in the production yourself, you've been producing it as well for the last 9 years. But how are rehearsals going?
Going really well. We actually planned to do 6 days of rehearsals last week. We start very late. In fact, we all got together last Monday for the first time. But we ended up finishing on Friday because it was we were there. You don't want to over-egg the pudding sometimes. So they had the weekend off. And then in the theatre at the moment, they're building the scenery ready for us to get on the stage this week.
And is there going to be all the usual pantomime fun this year?
Absolutely. So we had, we had a funny one last year. There's a bit of you're not allowed to shout back and all of this, but all the fun this year. And we've got some nice special effects this year. The genie's a surprise. Aladdin's got a little pet that pops up. I won't spoil that one. And of course the flying carpet.
And are the cast local people, or are they from away?
All from away this year, yeah. Everyone's from all over the country. We've got people from Bristol, London, Alan, who's Abenaza, is coming down from Scotland. So, yeah, working professionals that are travelling down for Weymouth. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to the people of Weymouth to encourage them to come along and support the pantomime? Because it's great putting the pantomime on, but without people, it's not worthwhile. And I guess people might be concerned at the moment.
We're seeing better ticket sales than we've ever seen, which is incredible. We find with Weymouth, we're doing a few other pantos around the country, but we find in Weymouth that people tend to book quite late. but we're seeing very early booking this year, so people do seem to have that confidence. But a theatre is a very safe place as far as COVID is concerned. We're still doing all the temperature checks, and the cast are looking after themselves and everything. So yeah, I'd say come on down and get your tickets quick because they are flying outdoor.
Well, thank you to Lee and all the cast of Weymouth Pantomime, and make sure you get your tickets soon. Now, whilst here, we're also going to speak to Pam Govio from the Will Mackinnis Trust about the Weymouth Chase the Pudding race that all the pantomime stars are supporting this year.
Hi, Chase the Pudding is an annual event where people run along the beach, dress up as Santa, chasing after a pudding. If you want to be involved with that, get yourself signed up via the Will Mackinnis Trust Facebook and website, or you can sign up online. It costs £15 without a suit, £20 with a suit, and also we've got a Chase the Elf, which is just 2 kilometres from the beach until the pier, which is for less money as well. But if you want to get involved, it's a really fantastic event. Really, it's the first day of Christmas for me, and the more people we have, the better. The funds go to water sports opportunities for youngsters in Weymouth and Portland, either windsurfing, sailing, or even swimming lessons for youngsters who can't swim. So if you want to get involved, please sign up. But even if you don't want to get involved running, just go on down and watch the fantastic spectacle of all the Santas and elves chasing on the beach, chasing after the pudding.
So thank you to Pam, thank you to the pantomime cast. Do come along to the pantomime, do look at the Christmas pudding run, and do come and support these local events.
Yay!
Brilliant, thank you very much. There we go, and that was a great morning at Weymouth Pavilion, and it was an absolutely atrocious morning. It was blowing a hoolie outside, it was pouring down with rain, and we were going to do some bits on the beach, but unfortunately the best we got was out on the Pavilion balcony. But as you can see, everyone was so cheerful and excited, even with the bad weather. So do support the pantomime. Brilliant cast. Lee does a fantastic job of producing pantomime in Weymouth. And also do pop along and either watch the Christmas pudding race on the 19th of December on Weymouth Beach, or if you fancy getting dressed up, go along, pay for a place, get dressed up, join in the run, and raise some money for a very worthy local charity that supports youngsters doing water activities in Weymouth and Portland. And now it's time for the weather, and this week we're over, as we have been for several weeks now, to Alex Deacon. He seems to be getting the weekend shift most weekends for the national weather forecast.
Hello again. Plenty going on with the weather this weekend. It's going to start pretty chilly, but it will slowly turn milder. As it turns milder, it is also going to turn fairly damp, with a band of rain spreading east during Saturday. That rain will be fizzling out during Sunday, so for many places Sunday's largely dry and a bit warmer, but there is the potential for some very strong winds in the northwest on Sunday night and into Monday morning. More on that in just a moment. By the end of the day, double digits across the southwest, maybe even into the teens. However, in the east, because we're starting close to freezing and the clouds builds in fairly quickly, I suspect it'll feel pretty cold here at 5 or 6 degrees at best, with that damp and drizzly weather to boot. Now, the rain could pep up for a time through the evening over East Anglia and the southeast, and along with northwest England and North Wales, staying fairly soggy on Saturday night and into Sunday. Sunday then, a bit of a mishmash, largely dry in the south but fairly cloudy. Some patchy rain at times over northern England and North Wales. Brighter skies for Scotland with some sunshine before this next zone of rain moves through Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland come Sunday afternoon. The breeze picking up, but coming up from the southwest, and milder air tucked in here as well. So temperatures more widely on Sunday up to double digits. Still a bit on the cold side across northern Scotland, but even here temperatures are above average. However, the reason the wind's coming in from the southwest is because of this area of low pressure. Now, this needs watching because it is likely to intensify during Sunday as it spreads its way just to the northwest of Northern Ireland. Look at the isobars squeezing together there, but then intensify further as we go into Sunday evening and overnight. Very tightly packed isobars suggesting some very strong winds for the Western Isles of Scotland, parts of the Highlands, and then later in the night as the low drifts further north across the Northern Isles too. So we do need to watch this system carefully. Warnings in place. Gust of wind 80 to maybe in places 90 miles an hour. And this is a developing system, so it depends exactly where it forms as to where we see the strongest winds. But these kind of winds could certainly cause some structural damage and certainly some disruption to transport likely. So one warning in place for Sunday evening across the far northwest, and then from midnight into Monday morning across the Northern Isles. And again, here, gusts of 80 to perhaps 90 miles an hour could cause some disruption. So this, as I say, is a developing system as we go through Sunday. So keep up to date with the weather forecast and keep up to date with those warnings. They're constantly being monitored. Best place to check them is the app or, of course, the website. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channels, you'll never miss a forecast.
There we go. Thank you very much, Alex, there for the national weather forecast. And let's pop up our local weather. As you can see, tomorrow remains unsettled. A small chance of a sunny spell, but it's going to be overcast and rain most of the time. But the week's not too bad temperature-wise. It remaining, slightly above average for this time of year. We're not seeing too much of that freezing weather yet, and quite mild daytime. Certainly, the start of this week. So I wonder if we will get a white Christmas this year. I don't think it's looking very promising in Weymouth and Portland, although other areas of the country have already had snow. Now, our traffic and travel this week, not too busy on the traffic and travel this week, fortunately. Roadworks this week, BT Openreach are working in Shrubbery Lane in Wyke and Chamberlain Road and Raynham Gardens. Southern Gas Networks in Rudderpole Park Drive and Weymouth Bay Avenue. And Dorset Council in Colton Road North and Newton's Road. And also that work over by the Spa Hotel, sorry, not the Spa Hotel, on Chickle Road, the road that's been shut, which I haven't written down, and the name's gone from me. But you know the road I mean that's been shut, that was supposed to be opened again last week, but is going to be shut through until I think the middle of December. On South West trains, there's just an amended service between London, Waterloo, Basingstoke, Yeovil, Penmill and Exeter tomorrow. No other pre-notified works on the train's website for this weekend or the week ahead. That's quite unusual these days. So let's hope that that is correct. Where are we? We're going to the What's On now. The What's On. Weymouth Pavilion, as I said, the pantomime starts today, the 11th of December, and runs through to the 2nd of January. On the 17th and 18th of December, there's a big Christmas party in the Ocean Room as well. 7th of January, Nashville. 8th of January, Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra New Year Gala, and the 13th of January, Burn the Floor with Kevin Clifton, formerly of Strictly. The box office is online at weymouthpavilion.com or telephone 01305 783 225. I do remember that our Weymouth Pavilion is a community interest company, so it is there to not make massive profits for a business. It's not a standard business. It is there. Many of the people that work in the pavilion are total volunteers, and I think Phil Say that leads it and the volunteers do an absolutely fantastic job. Not only with things like the pantomime and the Pirates of the Pavilion in the summer, but all the shows that they bring us week in, week out. Some big names and a wide variety of things, something for everybody at Weymouth Pavilion. I have to say, I feel it's much better run these days than it used to be when it was run by the local authority, and it was a full commercial operation with paid staff. So well done to everybody at Weymouth Pavilion and keep up the work. At the Nose this weekend, tomorrow on Sunday, we have got an elf hunt, and that returns again next Saturday and Sunday as well. There's also an artillery firing day at the Nose Fort tomorrow. And on the 20th of December, Picklebottom, we've been mentioning this for months, I hope it's good. Picklebottom's got, the elf has got a Christmassy show on the 20th of December. So pop along to the Nose website, www.nothefort.org.uk, to get all the details of what's going on there. And just a reminder, this Chase the Pudding race, 19th of December, Santa's elves, pantomime dames and many other fabulous festive characters will gather at the pavilion end of Weymouth Beach to take part in the annual Chase the Pudding race. The event raises the funds, as we said, for the Will Mackiness Trust. who gives water sports opportunities to youngsters of Weymouth and Portland. Now, registration for the race is 9:30. 9:30, that's on the 19th of December in the Pavilion Ocean Room, followed by a warm-up on the beach at 10:45, and the race starts at 11. So if you're just going along to watch the race, get there just before 11 o'clock for all the fun. The race is 5 kilometres from the Pavilion end of the beach to the groin at Green Hill and back again. I think there's a shorter race as well, I think Pam told us. So there we go. Now, I thought also I would mention what is coming up on TV over Christmas. Now, Christmas TV these days is not as good as it used to be when I was a youngster, but I've done a quick sift through today, and I'll mention a few things this week, and I'll probably mention a few more next week. But I've noticed Christmas Day for Strictly fans. There's a Christmas Come Dancing Christmas special, and a Call the Midwife episode on BBC One. There's the Larkins at Christmas on ITV, and there's a Christmas Bake Off on Channel 4. So that's a few different things there, Christmas Day. On Boxing Day, we've got Around the World in 80 Days, a Death in Paradise Christmas special, and a Very British Scandal on BBC One. Those all look very good. And All-Star Musicals on ITV. I will see what else is coming up and mention it next week as well. Now, this week we do have a film review. We mentioned this much earlier in the year, but it is now just about to release. It is called The Matrix Resurrections. It's from visionary filmmaker Lana Wachowski. It's called The Matrix Resurrection, the long-awaited next chapter in the groundbreaking franchise that redefined a genre. The new film reunites original cast stars Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss in the iconic roles they made famous of Neo and Trinity. The Matrix Resurrections return to a world of two realities, one everyday life, the other what lies behind it. To find out if his reality is a physical or mental construct, to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. And if Thomas Neo has learned anything, it's that choice, while an illusion, is still the only way out of or into the Matrix. Of course, Neo already knows what he has to do, but what he doesn't yet know is the Matrix is stronger, more secure, and more dangerous than ever before. A bit of deja vu. Reeves reprises the dual roles of Thomas Anderson and Neo, the man once saved from the Matrix to become the saviour of humankind, who will once again have to choose which path to follow. Moss portrays the iconic warrior Trinity, or is she Tiffany, a suburban wife and mother of three, with a penchant for super-powered motorcycles. Warner Brothers presents, in association with Village Roadshow Pictures, in association with Venus Castina Productions, The Matrix Resurrections. The film will be distributed worldwide by Warner Brothers Pictures, and it will be in the UK in cinemas on December the 22nd. And here it is for you now, a taster.
We can't see it, but we're all trapped inside these strange repeating loops.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious.
But this is the moment for you to show us what is real. I remember this.
So deja vu. And yet it's obviously all wrong. Maybe this isn't the story we think it is.
They taught you good. Made you believe their world was all you deserved. But some part of you knew that was a lie. Some part of you remembered what was real.
It's so easy to forget how much noise the Matrix pumps into your head. Something else makes the same kind of noise. War. What happens to Neo? Mr. Anderson! The most important choice in Neo's life is
not his to make.
She believed in me. It's my turn to believe in her.
Part of me feels like I have been waiting my whole life for you.
If you want to see Trinity again, fight for her!
I saw this in a dream. My dream ended here.
I still know Kung Fu.
There we go, that's the Matrix Resurrection from Warner Brothers. Some stunning special effects and photography in that film, if that's the sort of thing that you like going to the cinema to watch. Well, we're just about at the end of another programme. Just to remind you, regular services at All Saints tomorrow at 8 o'clock and 9:30. The 9:30 will be live streamed. And to remind you that there now is a requirement legally to wear masks indoors, and that includes places of worship unless you are exempt. St Edmund's Church, 11 o'clock service. And of course, tonight in probably just over half an hour is our quiz online from 7:15. The stream will be up and the quiz goes live at 7:30. You're most welcome to join us. It's free. It's a bit of fun on a Saturday evening, and we hope you'll join us for that. And on Friday we continue our year in gardening with Clive Gray, looking at projects and plans for gardens and things that you can do in your garden. And of course, don't forget, during the week, if you want to keep in touch with what's going on locally, events-wise and news-wise, do look out for or listen out for our local radio stations of Chesil Radio, available just online. Keep 106 is available on FM and online, and so is 107.2. And I look forward to being back with you next week at 6 o'clock. If you have any stories for us, any events on, or anything else you want to share for us for considering for our programme next week, drop us a line at news@White Regis TV. We're always looking out for material, very keen to support local causes and also to promote local stories and local events. So we'd love to hear from you. That's news@whiteregis.tv. I look forward to being with you next Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and the week ahead, and take care. See you soon.